Hey, Brandon loves sports TV. Shout out to the LDBC Lions Den basketball community. Y'all please remember to like, share, subscribe. We're trying to grow this channel. So please tell everyone you know, share, hit that share button, like the videos so we can get the algorithm where it needs to be. Let everybody know that you enjoy Brandon Loves Sports TV. So let's talk. So one of my subscribers hit me up this morning, sent me a text, and he was comparing all-time great bigs. And he was trying to get me to compare three players: Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, and Chris Webber. And I thought it was interesting that he mentioned Chris Webber. So I'm gonna do this video about Chris Webber because I think that he's not in that tier with Giannis and Jokic. I still rank Giannis above Jokic because he's been in the league a little bit longer, a little bit better body of work. You can't argue. What's up, Todd? You can't argue that Jokic is better. But I would say even if right now, definitely Jokic is better than Giannis right now. But I still think body of work, overall performance over time, I think Giannis still has a slight edge, but it's not by much. Now, Chris Webber, on the other hand, some of you C-Web fans, I don't mean to be disrespectful, because I love Chris Webber. But trust me, I go all the way back to Michigan. That's how old I am. I remember the Fab Five. I remember Jimmy King, Ray Jackson. I remember Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, and Juwan Howard. I remember all that. I remember them getting to the finals and couldn't quite close the deal. And that's kind of what I'm going to talk about today, where I believe Chris Webber, his entire career, had good numbers, good enough to get in the Hall of Fame. But he just, yeah, he was average to me. I think he could have been way much more than what he was. I think he was definitely good enough to be, yeah, Todd said, I remember. Todd, are you 48 like me? So, I think he had all the numbers to make the Hall of Fame. Let's go through his stats real quick. C-Web overall his career he averaged 19 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. Not bad numbers. Those are solid Hall of Fame numbers there. To be able to sustain that over, I think he played, 12, 13 years in his career, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less. He had 8 playoff appearances. He was 5 NBA All-Star appearances, 1 conference finals appearance. Now let's get there. This is where the problems start to set in with me. Now, when you start to talk about comparing him to all-time big power forwards, some of the greats, to me, playoffs, championships, all that stuff matters because that has to do with the player's impact on the game. Now, individually, he was a great player, but his impact on the game only got him to 1 conference appearance. So that shows you right there. And that was against the Los Angeles Lakers. He was on the opposing team. I'm a Laker fan, so I'm always going to be on Kobe's side, Shaq's side. I remember that, but I remember that they pushed us to the limits. And that may have been the greatest Eastern Conference Finals appearance, arguably, in NBA history, at least in my lifetime. That series between the Lakers and the Sacramento Kings that Webber played on. I remember that was that team with Mike Bibby on it, and C-Web. Who else was on that team? What's that? Vlade Divac was on that team. It'll come to me in a minute, but it was a great team. It's a great team. Hedo Turkoglu, they had a solid team. They had a great team. But the Lakers, we had Kobe, we had Shaq. That was in the middle of our championship winning run. We'd already won 2 in a row. That year, '02 would have been, that was our 3rd year. But they were good. They were well coached. I want to say, what's that guy who can't never win the big one? with the mustache. He'll come to me in a second. He always get there, but he can't quite get over the hump. He used to coach the Portland Trailblazers, the dude with the mustache. But he could never quite. His son coaches too. Man, his name will come to me in a minute, but he was the head coach. And, or was it Mike Dunleavy? No, I don't think it was Mike Dunleavy. I think it was whatever the guy's name. It'll come to me. It's like, if y'all think of his name, put it on here. He said, "Can you make a video about Tim Duncan?" Nobody ever did. Oh, I've done several videos about Tim Duncan, but I'll do some more. I will. I need to do more about Tim Duncan. Absolutely. I got Tim Duncan on number 6 on my all-time great list. But yeah, I mean, C Webb. I mean, he was great, but he never got over the hump. And that's where I have a problem with him, because had he been the player, now I got to go back and study the history. I got to read a little bit. I need to contact my boy Too Raw, which he was on here. Did Sacramento have injuries that next year? But I don't think it might have been some roster changes, but if C Webb was the guy who he was supposed to be, he would have wheeled his team back the next year, because the Lakers, we were back in the mix the next year. See, we actually made the finals 4 years straight. See, we just didn't win that 4th year because we lost to that hungry, young Detroit Pistons. I should have called them Detroit Lions. They were like young lions. We lost to them, because they were the better team. They wanted the Lakers. We just got lazy. We were so used to winning, we just didn't take it seriously, and so they got us, caught us, caught us asleep. That's basically. I just got to call a spade a spade. We just weren't prepared. We weren't ready. Kobe and Shaq was beefing at the time, and we just weren't a cohesive unit. So they caught us slipping. But C Webb, he didn't get his team. They didn't make it back. So I'm just like, that's what, he was another LeBron James. Like, his expectation, he could have been so much better. When I look at the guy he was in Michigan, but even in Michigan, just those kind of brain lapses, calling a timeout, just those are brain farts that, great, all-time great. Don't get me wrong, he is a Hall of Famer, but I think he's an all-time great. No, I just think he was great. He was good, really, really, really good, borderline great, but he just wasn't. He was good enough to get in the Hall of Fame. I'll give him, he earned that, but he just didn't. He had all the talent in the world to be much more. He could have won championships, but he just didn't quite live up to expectations. And sometimes that's a hard thing too. That has a lot to do with, staying focused, paying attention to detail, being a leader that he needs to be on and off the court. I just think he just was lacking that, that it factor to get him to that point. So those are my thoughts. C Webb, great player, but just not. To me, he was a extreme underachiever to me. All right, y'all. Brandon Love Sports TV. It's your boy. Shout out to the LDBC Lions Den basketball community. I'm out. Y'all, please make sure you like, share, subscribe. All right, hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. Peace.